The rains are late. It's the most brutal time of year. Babies born into drought face starvation. The weak and the injured are weeded out. Everything's desperate for rain. When it finally arrives, it's a downpour on an enormous scale. Alien creatures emerge into a different world. The wet season begins. It's the beginning of November in the Luangwa Valley. 6.5 rainless months have parched the land, sucking all moisture from the grass. For a young elephant, the dry season is the toughest time of year. The herd must trek for up to 80 kilometers each day to find enough food. The experienced matriarch must ensure her family's survival. However far they travel, she always leads them back to the river. It's the last source of water in the valley. The only place to drink. They use their 2-meter trunks to siphon water, 10 liters at a time, before squirting it into their mouths. In this heat, it's welcome relief. Relief from above seems imminent too. Clouds begin to build, and the skies get heavy with the promise of rain. But the sun burns them off, and they vanish as quickly as they appear. For the youngster, the rains can't come soon enough. He's still suckling, and at this time of year, it's much harder for his mother to produce the rich milk he needs to keep up his strength. Rain is desperately needed to bring a fresh burst of life to the valley. The Luangwa Valley is in the heart of Africa, cutting through Zambia's eastern wilderness. Each year it floods and dries in a natural cycle, but this year is harsher than most. El Niño has affected the weather worldwide, and in Zambia, it's turned the dry season into drought. Rains here usually come in late October. They're 2 weeks late. The Luangwa River is at its lowest in 2 decades. There's been no rain here since April, and if it doesn't come soon, the river could stop flowing completely. When resources are scarce, buffaloes unite into mega herds and descend on the diminishing river to drink. The resident hippos are forced so close to each other that up and down the river, tempers flare and fights erupt. The consequences can be devastating. One fight has left this old bull with a broken leg. His instinct is to keep eating. But unable to move far to graze, he's losing weight fast. Oxpeckers feast on his cuts. They'll help clean his wounds, but the pain is too much for him to bear. Forced out of his lagoon home when it dried up and banished from the river, he's managed to find a last tiny pool of stagnant water. He's reached the end of his journey, but at least he has cool mud to ease his last few hours. The midday sun beats down, pushing temperatures to 48 degrees. The earth bakes solid. Leadwood trees bleach white in the glare. Once grassy plains turn to dust. There's no respite from the brutal sun. But carmine bee-eaters seem to thrive in it. Every year, tens of thousands of bee-eaters come to the soft sandbanks of the Luangwa River to breed. Holding their beaks open exposes their tongues and helps them keep cool. But they seem to go out of their way to sunbathe. These beach bums aren't just lounging around, they're actually keeping clean. One downside of living in a colony is that parasites spread fast. To keep them under control, carmines bask. The heat of the sun keeps lice and mites active and moving around the feathers. Dust bathing helps dislodge them. Letting grains of sand trickle between their feathers and reach the skin is the bird's answer to scrubbing their backs with a loofah. Bee-eaters spend 10% of their day doing pest control. In the stagnant pool, Quelea quench their thirst. But the hippo has breathed his last. Scavengers soon find the carcass. At this time of year, predators don't always need to waste energy on a hunt. This lion's had the hard work done for him by the drought. The hippo weighs well over a ton, even in his emaciated state. But with the buoyancy of the water, the lion has enough brute strength to move his prize. This lion is in his prime, a 6-year-old male. Over 200 kilos of muscle. The hippo's hide is 5 centimeters thick, but the lion's canines are 10 centimeters long and make short work of opening the carcass. His tongue is barbed, helping him scrape meat from the bone. The lion isn't alone. These two are brothers, a coalition that together control a group of females and young known as the Nsephu Pride. They're a team, their strength and power more than doubled by their alliance. But they're not equals. The dominant brother has the right to feed first, even though his sibling found the meal. News of the carcass travels fast on the bush telegraph. A hooded vulture is first on the scene. It's one of the smallest African vultures, easily able to maneuver into prime position to pick up scraps. The rest of the cleanup crew is quick to arrive. White-backed vultures are larger and much more numerous. The lion can eat a quarter of his own weight in one sitting, but he's had his fill and there's no need to gorge. Dead animals are plentiful during the drought. It's the moment the birds have been waiting for. The white-backed vulture's strong, curved beaks are well adapted to tearing flesh. And, just like lions, vultures have rough tongues. These serrations help them scrape meat from all the carcass's nooks and crannies. But the vulture's turn at the trough is interrupted when the rest of the lions come to feed. Over the coming days, the whole Nsephu Pride gets a good meal. Between lions and vultures, every available scrap is devoured, till there's nothing but bones left to pick. But not everyone's prepared to share. One lion trumps 80 vultures. The vultures' crops are crammed with carrion. These muscular pouches in their throats can hold up to 20% of their body weight. They'll need time to digest before they can get airborne again. The hippo is a casualty of the valley's savage drought, but his demise has fed many mouths, helping other animals survive. 2 weeks on, and there's still no rain. Relief must surely come soon. The elephants keep on moving. It's hard for the little one to keep up, but the herd is a close family. His mother and aunts would never leave him behind. It's been months since these elephants have had a mud bath. The closest thing they've got now is dust. Like the bee-eaters, the sandy shower helps remove parasites. And also gives them a bit of protection from the sun. As they move on, the matriarch seems to sense something. Elephants can detect sounds at much lower frequencies than humans. She's heard distant thunder. The secret behind this super sense lies in her feet. Elephants effectively walk on their tiptoes and have spongy pads of fat in their heels, which cushion their weight as they walk. Natural shock absorbers. They also pick up vibrations moving through the earth, so the herd can detect distant sounds. Elephants sort of do have their ears to the ground. And they can hear thunder over 160 kilometers away. Another family eagerly awaits the rains. Vervet monkeys live in troops of up to 70 animals, led by an alpha male. They have one of the most varied diets of any primate, eating anything they can find from fruits and seeds to birds' eggs and lizards. Even so, the dry season offers thin pickings. They time their breeding so females give birth at the start of the rains, when there's plenty of food about. But this year, they've been caught out. On top of the punishing drought, the rains are well overdue. Food is hard to come by. Newborn vervets are totally dependent on their mothers. They spend the first week of their lives clinging to mum and won't venture further than 2 meters away until they're 3 months old. But without rain to revive their larder, these new mums are struggling to nurse their babies. This one is a first-time mother. Her inexperience means her little one is at even greater risk of starvation. The drought has the Luangwa Valley locked in a cruel embrace. Every tributary has run dry. Empty gullies crisscross the parched land. Their winding paths a hollow reminder of the water they once held. An experienced old leopard, known as Kamuti, uses the waterless ditches to sneak close to prey. The dry season often works to predators' advantage. The ground is now iron hard. Every lagoon morphed into an expanse of fired earth. In the wet season, these waterholes are home to crocodiles. As the land dries, they get stranded. Sometimes several kilometers from water. The only option is to head for what's left of the river. The Luangwa River has more crocodiles than any other in Africa. They bask on every bend. The largest crocs are dominant, but they tolerate each other, safe in the knowledge that they will all get a meal sooner or later. All kinds of prey comes to drink at the shrunken river. These tiny birds are quelea. Like most animals here, they're drawn to the last source of water in the valley. As the dry season progresses, they coalesce into massive flocks. By November, they gather in staggering numbers. These super colonies can hold several million birds. Each one weighs less than 30 grams, but together a giant flock can tip the scales at over 50 tons. A mouthful of that is worth having. Crocs ambush the drinking throng from the shallows. But the birds' reactions are lightning fast. In a split second, each responds to its neighbor's movements, and the whole mega flock swerves as one. The clouds are ready to do more than tantalize. thunderheads swell and blot out the sun. The rain is finally here. It's an enormous storm. Hour after hour, the rain just keeps on coming. After 20 hours of rainfall, the skies finally begin to clear. In the damp earth, something stirs. Giant velvet mites make few visits to the surface. They emerge for only a few hours each year after the first rains. Their scarlet coats of tiny fine hairs warn predators to stay away. They secrete foul-tasting antifungal oils that keep them clean underground. At 12 millimeters long, these are the largest mites in the world. They're arachnids, and like their spider cousins, have 8 legs and a pair of wicked fangs. With no antennae, they use their front legs to feel their way around this brave new world. This is the only chance they have to feed and mate before disappearing to their subterranean lairs to wait out another year. The rain has revitalized the valley. Ponds appear in every hollow in the ground. Waterholes are everywhere. A terrapin takes his first look at the world in 6 months. He's been Eastervating, sitting out the drought in a state of torpor. A cold shower has woken him up. Now he needs a good long dip in a pool. Water at last. He'll search the shallows for mollusks and worms. After such a long sleep, he needs a big breakfast. rains may have dampened the ground, but for some, they've ignited a spark of passion. Winged termites take to the skies. Thousands dance in the moonlight. The air is thick with pheromones. They're looking for mates. Swarming is the only chance the termites get to meet and mix with members of different colonies. It shakes up the gene pool. A few young males and virgin queens will pair up and start new colonies. But for most of the termites, this heady night of ecstasy is their last. By morning, the new waterholes are clogged with drowned lovers. For the vervets, the termite glut is a feast. The insects are packed with protein. The young mum can't get enough of them. It's the best meal she's had for months. Now, she and the other nursing mothers will have plenty of reserves to keep producing milk for their babies. Everyone gets in on the act. In the parched Mopani forest, a transformation begins. On every twig, new leaves sprout. The tree's dormancy is over. The woodland yawns and stretches, ready for a new season. There are new shoots everywhere. Seeds hidden in every crack and crevice have been poised for this moment. One massive rainstorm is all they needed. In a matter of days, the desiccated land is reborn. A flush of green sweeps across the valley. And with new grass, come new grazers. "90% of impala mums give birth within 2 weeks of each other, just when the rains begin. The new shoots contain lots of protein, just what they need to suckle their young. This little one is only about half an hour old. His mum chose a secluded spot deep in the bush to give birth. But she didn't bank on visitors so soon. The fawn's instinct is to stay hidden in the shadows. But the boisterous baboons give him a fright. It's as good a reason as any to take your first steps. Best stick close to Mum. His gangly legs take some getting used to. He must build up his muscles. One day, these legs will be able to power 3-meter leaps that will help him escape from predators. New babies pop up everywhere. This little giant was born yesterday and is already 2 meters tall. Within a couple of weeks, the valley is a different world. The Mopani wood is thick with foliage. The plains have been replenished. There's new grass everywhere. And the river is no longer the only source of water. Just one day of rain has rehydrated the valley. But it's not good news for the Nsefu pride. Buffalo can now spread out to forage and drink. The mega herds break up, and buffalo disperse over hundreds of kilometers, making them much harder for the lions to hunt. For the old leopard, Kamuti, times are tough. The gully she once used so ruthlessly to stalk her prey is now full of water. She has nowhere to hide. Puku and Impala can see her from far away. For Kamuti, the rains herald lean times. The tributaries are flowing again. Swollen streams rush to the river. The Luangwa has been given a new lease on life. It's beginning to refill. For the hippos, the pressure is off. With plenty of space, pods can spread out, and the stresses of the drought are forgotten. The mood in the river relaxes. But for the Carmine bee-eaters, the race is on. Now the valley's rainy season has begun, there'll be more storms coming. They have about a month before the river rises high enough to flood their burrows. They must make sure their chicks fledge before they lose their homes. To catch enough prey, they venture further afield to hunt. They're quick to exploit the valley's new water pools. They're not fishing, but diving for aquatic insects. Carmine bee-eaters share a few skills with their kingfisher cousins. At long last, the elephants get their bath. After one of the worst droughts in living memory, the cool mud is a soothing balm. Mud is one of an elephant's favorite things. Part sunscreen, part moisturizer. All pleasure. Not a scrap of their bodies is missed. Trunks, toenails, tusks and tails. Everything gets a coating of blissfully therapeutic mud. A hammerkop takes advantage of insects stirred up in the ploughed earth. The matriarch's wisdom has brought her family safely through another year. For the young one, it's been the toughest year of his life. And he's made it. He'll have plenty more dry seasons to face, but by next year, he'll be a bit bigger and a bit stronger. He's ready to tackle what lies ahead in the extraordinary Luangwa Valley.